Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to get this thing over with.
You and me both. So,
Well, I'm at my parents' house right now too, so I'm like everyone's downstairs. I'm having so much fun.
oh, I hear you. My brother's coming in later tonight, so I'm like, let's get this over with.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so real quick, I just read over the discussion prep for the discussion leader. Um,
Uh huh.
Sounds like we're like in our little meeting, we're basically just supposed to discuss our strategy for getting the wage agreement. Because that's really the only thing that went on in the 1983 negotiation was the basically negotiating what the new wage was going to be.
Uh
And then
huh.
after that, it looks like we're supposed to come back together as a full group and discuss the 1985 negotiation.
Okay, so my I'm usually hooked up to a dual monitor, so my screen has disappeared. So I'm gonna have to exit out and then get back on the call.
Okay, that
So
works.
it'll be like
I'm just going to read over the
30.
case a little bit more.
There you go. Sorry. Yeah, it's really annoying when it does that stuff.
Oh, no worries. Mine is really finicky. If I have, for some reason, I have a VGA cable, and if I hook up my second monitor, I get no sound whatsoever on my computer. So I have to always unplug that before I start any video chats.
Awesome. So we're supposed to look at the.
What was that?
Yeah, I've got VGA thing on mine as well, and it's really annoying. Like at the time, whenever I or open up my computer after it being or shut down and stuff like that, half the time it won't open up the second monitor. I have to unplug and replug it in.
Oh
So
no.
it is what it is. All right, looking at the just what we're gonna do to negotiate the pay.
That's what it looks like. So from what I was reading, going into the
So is there
1983,
like a template?
um, let's
Um,
see, under the reading for the organized labor, it had, let's see, the 78 negotiation and then
uh,
also the 83 negotiation. From the discussion leader post, it sounded like we needed to prepare for the 83 negotiation about wages.
or are we doing it for 85?
Well, the thing is, I guess we have to do the 83 really quick because depending on what we decide for wages in 83, then that's the wage we're going to use for our 1985 discussion.
Okay,
So, yeah, it's kind of confusing. It's basically like we're doing two different negotiations really quick.
fair
Because
enough.
I guess in 85 is when like the whole contract expires. And so they say that like that's when a bunch of things are going to be getting discussed. But in 83, it was like just wages that were discussed.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically, we have to plan how we're going to either hold our wages at 1069 or increase them.
We will tell them that they're terrible employees or employers, and we are never working for them again unless they pay us more. So there we go. We're done. Okay.
I was reading the wrap up on this case. Unfortunately, that's basically almost what happened. They're like, no, we're
Yeah.
sticking to it. And they're like, yeah, too bad. And about 500 people were like unemployed and left the town.
Yeah. But the thing is, so one of the clauses or one of the things that they do is they do the the average of like the three people of the firms, but the prices their wages are going down, so that's gonna drop our wages down as well, even doing an average of all those.
And that's going to hurt us because I know the other thing is that, let's see, it looks like the other firms, um, they're, what was it called? Like Me Too clauses. Like basically, if we can't come to an agreement, it defaults to that wage.
Uh-huh.
And all of those are significantly lower than what we're at right now. So we really want to try and come to some kind of agreement. Trying to think
Yeah,
what we can use because I really didn't want to be on the union side.
I really didn't want to do this at all. I would
um,
have been okay doing it yesterday.
oh, no joke. Well, I guess we can talk about that it's operating 20% higher production levels than the old plant. That's
Yeah, but
something in our
also,
favor.
I mean, one of the biggest things you have to bring up is cost of living. I mean, you can't knock people's pay while cost of living is going up. No one's going to want to work for you; they're all going to leave, and that in turn is going to impact the entire town. But yeah, the plant as a whole has been doing a lot better. One thing I was reading in the other one, um, there is an average of, I believe it was 202 first aids for every 100 employees.
Say that again?
There's 202 injuries per 100
Oh,
employees.
yeah, they had the highest rate versus um, anyone in the industry and increased
And
quite a bit with the new
also,
plant.
they've lost more work days due to injury than any other plant and than the industry average.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous, so we should be paid more. I mean, if we're each getting injured an average of twice a year, um, then there needs to be higher pay, or else we're just not going to come to work.
I agree that we can use that for, the 20% increase in production is, they were saying, was directly related to the increase in injuries. And so I think if they want to keep that 20% increase in production, they really need to show that in our wages.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Definitely. Let's see.
think we can also use, I was reading about how the group incentive was eliminated in the 1978 contract, and it was supposed to be like re-implemented in a sense once they got a better idea of what numbers need to be hit for that incentive with the way the new plant runs. And
Yeah.
so far, nothing about that has been re-implemented. So I think we can try and use that as a way to keep wages at what they are.
Yeah. And so was there wording in the contract that said that it would be reinstated?
Let's see here. So it shows where it says group incentive system was eliminated. Plan was devised. Where do I go? not seeing where. Yeah, I think unfortunately, based on the wording of the contract, that it was more of a
Implied.
oral agreement.
Okay. Well, we can still bring that up. Be like, okay, this is what you said. So you're going back on your word now, and you haven't done this. So then we'll be like, okay, how do we know you're gonna keep keep doing what you say you're gonna be doing now? Um,
Yeah, it looks like there was an escrow account that was put into place, and that the old workers who came over from the old plant are their wages are being supplemented through that account, but it doesn't apply to any of the new workers.
yeah, that's a big issue. So that could be something else. Be like all the new workers you're bringing on, they don't want to stay, and you're gonna have to train more employees because of the lower pay.
Absolutely.
They're all gonna quit.
Okay. Okay, so honestly, I think that's about as much as we're going to be able to use from what I read over.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean,
Fortunately, there's
we'd
not a
have
whole
to.
lot going for the union right now.
Yeah, exactly. Um, it'd help if we were in the situation and knew a little bit more, but we
Yeah,
have what we have, right?
yeah. Well, and the 80s weren't exactly friendly to unions, which
Oh no.
I mean, I'm fine with. I'm not a big fan of them, but makes this a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm kind of a fan of them because I work in a place where unions are huge. I work in a factory right now, and so
Mm,
I see the good they do and stuff. There's a girl who, so in my office, they don't have any coverage third shift. So
mm.
they asked if anyone wanted to go to third shift. And so he's like, okay, no volunteers. And he went by seniority and told one guy, okay, you're going to third shift because you have the least seniority. And then they did the same with second shift. And same thing happened. This girl was told to go to second shift, and she's got a kid who plays baseball and basketball. And she would be working till 11 o'clock at night and wouldn't be able to pick him home from school and stuff like she does now, which would make her husband do it and get off work early. And so she talked to union rep, and they're sorting all of it out. But it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's rough.
So, but there's good and bad to it altogether. So,
Yeah. I think it also depends just on the particular management that you're dealing with. Like I know,
yeah, he's very yeah.
yeah. Well, like I know, my aunt, she had to do, I believe it was rotator cuff surgery, and she works, at a plant here in St. Louis. And husband works on the line, and they tried to say because their company doctor had said, "Oh, she can be back the next day." They tried like it was against her doctor's orders, and they had to fight with them. Because I'm like, no, you can't come back the day after rotator cuff surgery to work.
Oh no, that's like at least a month off.
Yeah, so they had to hassle with that. Okay, I'll send an email. Let them know. I think we're good to join back in.
Awesome.
I guess we should discuss real quick before we jump back over. It didn't even dawn on me. Are we wanting to stay at 1069 or are we trying to increase that? Because basically they're calling the negotiations to try and decrease it.
I don't know.
Honestly, I think we're going to have a really rough time increasing it just because companies all across the board are lower than that right now. So
I think we're just going to stick with what we're at.
I'd vote for just trying to hold our ground. They maybe no
Let's do
lower
that.
than 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if he responded. Nothing yet. I'll give it a minute or two and then try and jump back in on theirs and see if they're ready.
Okay. That's good.